What's up everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I'm gonna be working on this 2006 Chrysler 300. I started doing a 2J swap a while back ago, but I didn't get to finish it. I got busy doing other things and I had to stop working on the car. The only thing I did was I dropped the motor in. It's sitting on a block of woods right now. I dropped the motor in and I was checking for clearances. This is a GTE front sump, but apparently I'm not gonna be able to use the front sump because it's already touching the fans. I try to push it back and I can't push it back anymore because the rack and pinion is on the way. So I'm gonna pull out this motor and I have a GE sitting back there. I'm gonna drop that GE. It has a rear sump. So I'm gonna try out the rear sump and see if everything fits a lot better. And if it does, then I'm just gonna start doing the brackets, the motor mounts, everything I need. And then I'm gonna pull out that GE and I'm not gonna use this motor. I have another one, it's in pieces, but it's freshly rebuilt. So I'm gonna be putting it together and then I'm gonna drop the other one in. It's a lot nicer too than this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that and I'll come back with you guys right now. Okay, so I pulled out the motor with the front oil pan and I already put the GE in there with the rear oil pan. So I'm gonna go ahead and start doing the motor mounts. I already set the motor where I want it. It's already leveled. I already checked all the angles and everything's good already. Everything's good to go. So I'm gonna keep the original motor mounts from the Chrysler 300. So this is one of them and then the other one's sitting over here. So I'm gonna keep those. I'm just gonna cut some pieces, weld some brackets, and I'm gonna attach them to the original motor mounts. For the transmission, I'm not gonna use the cross member from the Chrysler because it hits on the transmission itself, so I'm not gonna be able to use that one. I'm gonna make some I'm just gonna make another one of my own. I'm gonna use the original Toyota transmission mount, so that one's gonna be the same. I'm just gonna, like I said, I'm just gonna do a bracket for it, and that's gonna be it. So I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting some pieces, weld them together, and then we'll see how it sits. Okay, so I cut a couple of pieces, I put them together, I drilled some holes, and here I have my transmission bracket. I just welded the bracket, so it's pretty hot right now. It's pretty hot, so I'm gonna let it cool down and I'm gonna spray it probably black, or maybe I'll finish the rest of the brackets. I want to do the brackets for the motor mount, and once I finish the brackets for the motor mount, then I'll spray this and install it. But for now I'm gonna let it cool down. Okay, so I'm finishing the brackets for the motor mounts. This one's done and welded. That's the driver's side, and on the passenger I'm gonna get that welded right now. So I already did my brackets. I'm gonna weld all the pieces together and then I'll show you guys how it looks. Okay, so I'm pretty much done with the brackets. Here's one bracket and then here's the other one, and then the transmission one is already on. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove these straps and I'm gonna remove the bar that supports the motor, and I'm gonna see how it sits on the motor mounts. We'll see if everything still clears and if everything's good to go. And if everything's good, I'm gonna pull out this motor, I'm gonna pull out the tranny, and I'm gonna start putting the other motor together. Okay, so the motor is sitting on the brackets on the motor mounts now, and it looks pretty good. There's one bracket, here's the other one, and I'm pretty happy the way it came out. I checked it and it's pretty much leveled. So the motor's pretty much leveled, and I still have the 3 degrees that I set for my differential. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bring down the tranny. I'm gonna pull out this motor and I'm gonna start putting the other motor together. It's in pieces. I gotta get all the pieces together, but I should have everything to put it together. Once I drop the other motor in, then I'm gonna start working on the intercooler, and I'm gonna put another fuel pump. I'm gonna put a better fuel pump. I'm not gonna go crazy with the engine because there was no standalones available. I was gonna go standalone, but there's none available till the end of the month. So I'm gonna just use the stock ECU for now. Okay, so I pretty much got everything to put the motor together. I got the block sitting back there. So that's the block. And this is the head right here. I'm gonna be using this cover because this one has a vacuum port, and I'm gonna be using this vacuum for the blow off. I'm gonna put the blow off on the passenger side. I got a new oil pump, and then these are the valve covers. I polished them, and then here are some of the parts. I'm gonna be cleaning some of the parts because I had them on the back and they're dusty and they're dirty. I found the pulleys, and then the tensioner, and then this is the hydraulic tensioner too. This is the tensioner pulley and the hydraulic tensioner. I got the rear main. So, and I got more parts sitting back here. This is the oil cooler. That's not it though. So I got more parts sitting back here that I gotta clean. I'm gonna be using some of these parts over here, and I gotta clean them up. I got another rear main, but I'm not gonna be using that one. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean the parts, and then I'm gonna start putting the motor together. Okay, so I got everything ready. I already cleaned all the parts. I painted some of the parts that I wanted to spray. So everything's ready to go. I got all gasket seals, everything I need, bolts, the turbo. I polished the housing, looks a lot nicer. So I'm gonna go ahead and install the oil pump, the oil pan. I already installed the rear main since I got the motor. I installed the rear main before I put it on the engine stand, so that's ready to go. So I'm gonna come back with you guys once I install the oil pump, the oil pan, and the water pump. And before I put the head, then I'll show you guys the progress. Okay, so the bottom end is all put together. I'm gonna start bolting on the head, and like always, I'm gonna go with a tow head gasket. So I'm gonna install the head, and then I'm gonna install the rest of the components. I'm gonna come back with you guys when I have the timing belt on, the head, and I'm ready to install the valve covers. I don't think I'm gonna install the valve covers till I drop it inside of the car, because I don't want to scratch them. But I might just throw them on just to see how it looks outside, take a couple of pictures, and then I'm gonna take them off, drop it in the car, and then I'll bolt them on once inside of the car. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I'll come back with you guys. Okay, so there it is. I'm pretty much done with the motor. I put it all together. The turbo is just sitting there. It's not bolted on completely. So, and the valve covers, they're not bolted on. I just put them on to see how the motor looks, and it looks pretty nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the motor ready. I still gotta do a couple of things to it. I'm gonna get it ready. I'm gonna pull out the other one. I haven't pulled out the other one. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull out the other one, get this one ready, and then I'm gonna drop it inside of the car. Okay, so I have everything ready. I'm gonna drop the motor in. Once I drop the motor in, then I'm gonna bolt on the transmission, and everything should be ready to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I'm gonna come back with you guys. Okay, so the motor is in already. I bolted a couple of things like the starter, and I had to put a aftermarket oil cooler because the stock one didn't work. I wanted to use the stock one, but it didn't fit, so I had to use that one. And on this side, I'm working on the manifold. I just had to do a couple of things so that the turbo can bolt on, and the wastegate, I'm almost done with that. And what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna use the existing cable for the shifter. So I gotta do a bracket. I'm gonna use this one. I'm just gonna modify it a little bit, and I'm gonna try to make it work with the Toyota transmission. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'm gonna come back with you guys. By then I should have that bolted on and the turbo bolted on as well. Okay, so this is the progress so far. I already installed the turbo. So the turbo, it's bolted on, the downpipe, the wastegate, everything on this side, it's done. I insulated the wires so that I don't have any problems later on. Another thing I also did was the transmission, the shifter to the transmission. So I already connected that. I just did a bracket, and I used the existing transmission linkage. So that's done. On the intake side, I'm already working on the throttle cable. So that's why the intake is on. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish the throttle cable. I had to do a conversion from electrical to mechanical. Let me show you guys real quick. So this was my existing throttle pedal. So it was electrical. I just like cut it, and then I'm just gonna use a section of it just for the sensor. I'm not gonna use it on the 2J just so that the car thinks that the sensor is still connected. But I'm actually gonna go with this throttle cable. This is a long throttle cable, and I fabricated a bracket. It's gonna bolt on in the same location, and then I just gotta bolt on this to the bracket, and that's it. connect everything, and I'm done with my throttle cable. Okay, for the transmission, so this is what I did. I just cut the bracket. I had to modify the bracket on the transmission itself, and then I did my own bracket to hold the cable. It's not touching the exhaust, so I just put insulation, and then that's the hole I had to do to run the cable. So that's pretty much it on the transmission. Not a big deal for the tranny. And then here's everything on the turbo side. Everything's ready to go. I'm just gonna leave this the way it is right now, and then later on I'll connect it to the exhaust. But for now I'm just gonna leave it the way it is, and I still gotta do the exhaust. But first I'm gonna do the cooling system. So this is what I've done so far. I just connected a 90-degree elbow, and I'm gonna start doing the plumbing for the radiator. So actually, before I do that, I gotta do a bracket for the compressor and the power steering. So I'm gonna do a bracket, and then I'm gonna come back to the cooling system. Okay, I just wanted to show you guys real quick. I'm gonna be upgrading the fuel pump, so I'm gonna take out the original, and I'm gonna put this Walbro 450. So it should be able to handle the amount of power I'm gonna need, the amount of pressure I'm gonna need for the injectors. It's just an upgrade that you have to do sometimes, or else you'll have problems. Okay, so I'm pretty much done with my brackets. This is the power steering pump from the Chrysler, and this is the compressor from the Chrysler. All I did was weld a couple of brackets together. You're able to see them right here. And I had to line up the pulleys, obviously, but I'm pretty much done. So I'm gonna be able to use the power steering and the compressor from the Chrysler. I don't have to modify any lines. I'm gonna take them off right now. I'm gonna clean them up. I'm gonna finish welding them. I'm gonna paint them, and I'm gonna be installing them in the car right now. And I'm gonna move on to the cooling system, and then I'm gonna do the exhaust. Okay, so I already installed my brackets, and this is how it looks. So everything bolted on, no problem. Looks pretty nice. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the valve covers. I'm gonna start working on the cooling system. I have an aftermarket radiator that I'm gonna throw in. It's all aluminum, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'll come back with you guys. Okay, so I just finished installing the valve covers. I also put the coils and the coil cover, so that's pretty much done. I'm gonna start working on the cooling system. So I got a new radiator for the car. It's all aluminum. I'm gonna be installing that right now, and I'm gonna finish the hoses. I gotta do like some custom tubes, and I'm gonna be using some silicone hoses. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now, and then I'm gonna go back to the exhaust. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. Then I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. Then I'm gonna start working on the exhaust. Okay, so I'm pretty much done with the cooling system. So on the back, I just connected the heater hoses. So one is going to the back of the motor, and the other one is this one right here with the insulation. So both of those are connected. And on the front, I had to cut the neck on the head. So this is the water neck. I had to cut it because it was pointing to the driver's side, and the radiator inlet, it's on the passenger. So I just did a 90, and then I use this adapter. It's like a water neck, a filler water neck. So I'm gonna be using this for now. It's from a Maxima, but later on I'm gonna change it. I'm not gonna leave it the way it is because I don't like it, just for now to get me by. And on the bottom, I don't know if you're able to see, but this chrome pipe right here, well, it's not chrome, it's a stainless. I'm gonna polish it later on, most likely. So I did a custom pipe. I just welded 3 pieces together. I was pretty much able to connect the thermostat housing to a silicone hose, and then I did my custom tube on the bottom. And then there's a 90, this 90 right here, going to the radiator. So I just kept it simple, and I mean, I just want it to work for now, and hopefully I won't have a problem. But that's gonna be it on the cooling system. I'm gonna move on to the exhaust. I'm just gonna do just a pipe to the back, and that's it. I'm not gonna put a muffler because I'm still undecided on what I want to do with it, so I'm gonna wait for that. I'm just gonna run a pipe to the back, and that's it. Okay, I have a mess, but I'm also done with the exhaust. So I just cut a couple of angles, put them all together, and here's my exhaust. I'm gonna go ahead and install it right now. I took it down because I was welding it all together, but it's pretty much ready to go, and I also have to clean the mess. So I'm gonna go ahead and install this, and all I got left is the intercooler piping, and the harness, and I just gotta put 2 coolers in. That's it. Pretty much done. Okay, so I'm almost done. I'm not gonna put the intercooler. I have it over here on the floor. So this is the intercooler, but I gotta modify the bumper, so I don't have time for that right now. So I'll do that later, but I already installed the exhaust, so this is what I did on the exhaust. Just simple. And I'm gonna probably put a muffler later on. And the driveline, I already installed it. I just modified the first half of it. It's already installed. And I just put an oil relocator. I have an oil cooler, but I'm gonna install it later on as well. So this is my oil filter right here, and this is a water pipe that I did. This sensor over here is gonna be for the fans, so I'm gonna leave that sensor on, and I mean, it's pretty much ready to go. For the intercooler, like I said, I'm not gonna put it right now, so I'm just gonna run this pipe right here, and it's gonna go all the way to the intake. I'm gonna put the blow off right here, and then right here I'm gonna put the master flow sensor. I'm gonna use the stock computer and stock injectors for now, but when I come back I'm also gonna put a standalone and bigger injectors. I want to make more power, but for now I just want to get it running. So I'm gonna go ahead, finish the rest of the stuff, and I'll come back with you guys. Okay, so now that I'm almost done with the car, I'm gonna start doing the harness. So I got 2 harnesses. This is the one from the Chrysler, this is the 2J. So I'm gonna make it super simple because I don't really have time to do it how I would want it to. Like I said, I was gonna go with a standalone. I'm still going with a standalone. So I just want the car to start for now. So I'm gonna just keep it simple. I'm just gonna provide power, ground, and fire it up. And I'm not gonna extend it. I'm not gonna connect it to the fuses. I'm not gonna do none of that stuff. I'm just gonna get a big relay, a big fuse, and I'm gonna power it up with 1 wire pretty much. So it's gonna be 2. It's gonna be the like a main relay, and I'm gonna use a ignition switch to start it up, like for the starter obviously. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm not gonna record much on the harness because I'm not gonna keep this harness. I'm gonna modify later on, but I just want to show you guys what I'm gonna do. So let me take care of this and I'll come back with you guys. Okay, so there it is. It's pretty much done. So all I had left was the harness and the intake. On the harness I just used 1 big main relay and 1 fuse. I'm gonna do it properly once I get the standalone. Right now I just wanted to drive. And for the intake, I mean, the intake was pretty easy, just bolt it on. So that's done. All I got left is I gotta bolt on the hood and add antifreeze, and I'll be ready to fire it up for you guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the antifreeze, bolt on the hood, and I'll turn it on for you guys right now. Okay, so the hood is on. I already added some antifreeze, and I replaced the wheels. I put a different set of wheels. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on right now, and I'm gonna drive it out of here. I'll show you guys right now when it's running. I'll show you how it runs, and I gotta wait, and I gotta make sure the fans turn on and everything's working properly before I can drive it. But for now I'm gonna drive it out. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start it. Battery's kind of low. Well, there it is. Okay, so there it is. I'm gonna let it idle for a while. I gotta add more antifreeze, and I'm gonna make sure everything's working fine. The fans are turning on and everything, and then I'm gonna go ahead and drive it. Put the blow off on the bottom. So I'm gonna go ahead and add more antifreeze because it's already kind of smoking, and make sure everything's working, and then I'll go ahead and drive it like I said before. Okay, so I'm almost done with the car. I still gotta do a couple of other things. I had it outside and it got dusty. You guys can see the the dust right here, so I gotta wipe it off. I gotta clean the coil cover and the intake. It's kind of dusty, but anything other than that, I mean, the car's fine. It's not leaking any oil, it's not leaking any coolant. I mean, I already let it idle for a while and it doesn't overheat. The fans turn on. So the only oil leak I noticed was the one from the blow off. So I have the blow off right here. That's the blow off, and I saw a couple of oil like drops, and I know it's because of the turbo. This is a used turbo. I just polished the housing, but I don't know how many miles the turbo has. I know they were using it for a while on an Acura, so I know the turbo is not like fresh. If I notice any more oil leaks, I'm just gonna either have it rebuilt or I'm just gonna get another turbo, but I kind of like this turbo. So I'm gonna go ahead and drive it right now. I'm not gonna abuse the car because I still gotta break it in. I haven't done the first oil change, so I don't want to like abuse it right now. One thing I did notice about this car, I wasn't aware of, it has the old school engine start. So this is a 2006, and these cars, they didn't come with the engine start. So let me go ahead and turn it on for you guys. So I have the key right here. Let me see if it starts. Okay, there it is. So that was pretty nice that it has the engine start. And I mean, it's a 2006, so I had it running, so it's already warmed up. The bearing on the compressor is making a noise, so I think I gotta lube the bearing for the compressor. I thought it was the tensioner, and I changed it, and it's still making the noise when I rev it up. So I'm gonna replace the either I'm gonna lube it or I'm gonna replace the bearing on the compressor. So that's the only problem I noticed, but everything else is working properly. And let me show you guys the exhaust. So that's the exhaust. So I gotta figure out what muffler I'm gonna use. I still haven't decided what I'm gonna go with. So if you guys have any suggestions for a muffler, let me know, because I don't know what to put on. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and drive it now. Like I said, I'm not gonna abuse it because I want the motor to it's still breaking in, so I don't want to abuse it without like putting at least 100 miles. So I'm just gonna drive it easy. I'm gonna do a little bit of a pull, but nothing crazy. Alright guys, so I'm gonna keep on driving the car. I still gotta break it in. I haven't really put any miles in the car. I don't even think I have like not even 5 miles on the motor. So I'm gonna keep on driving it for the following days, the following weeks, and then I'm gonna do the first oil change. Once I get like 500 miles on the motor, I'm gonna try to do an oil change. I'm gonna turn up the boost because right now I have it like around 5 pounds. I didn't really want to abuse the motor, so it's a fresh motor. So I want to break it in. I want to put a little bit more miles, make sure everything's gonna adjust. And once I do my first oil change, then I'm gonna go ahead and turn up the boost. But for now, I'm gonna leave it at 5 pounds. So that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. For the next video, I'm gonna be throwing coilovers, and I also have a set of Brembo brakes. So hopefully I'll bring that pretty soon once I get all the parts. But for now, that's gonna be it, and I'll see you guys next time.